one. My guy, Young Gravy, already a busy day for you.
Yes, sir.
You were at a college earlier today, not partying though, talking to students. Talk about how that was for you though.
It was cool, man. I've done a couple little lectures for like over Zoom before, but I'd never done one in person.
Yeah.
So to Suffolk, and it was like an hour-long sort of moderated Q&A, and I thought it was dope, man. I felt like I was actually kind of inspiring people, giving some good advice. It was cool. This girl cried at the end. It was dope.
Now, were you talking to music people or business people, or?
It was a little bit of both. I think that they offered it to everyone in like business school and music. So yeah, it was a little combo. It was tight.
Because if somebody doesn't know, like back in the day, you obviously studied marketing, right? University of Wisconsin, which really means you studied partying. Because I checked. I Googled back in 2016, 2017, it was the #1 party school in the country.
Yeah, back in that window, it was.
I think it's still not a bad party school. But
I think the reason why it's like lower now is they changed some of the laws for like arrests.
Yeah.
The arrest record is lower.
Yeah.
I got caught drinking there a couple times, man. But yeah, man, that place was awesome. Wisconsin was great. I did learn a lot. Did party a lot. That's where it all started, man.
We all get in a little trouble in college. I got kicked off campus my senior year, but what's one memory from college that you're like, yo, that is the moment where I was loving college?
Well, I mean, okay, so there's a lot of crazy, parties and whatnot. I used to actually play like Super Smash Bros. With the basketball team, and that was when we were like the best basketball team.
You were the team.
Yeah. But I wasn't even rapping yet. I just met those dudes, so I was tied with them, and then like, I don't know, it just turned into all this, man. Probably the most memorable was I hadn't revealed my face before. I'd been making music for like a year and a half, and I was at a party, and I started talking to some dude. I don't even remember why, but he recognized my voice, and he was like, yo, just really weird question. Like, are you Young Gravy?
Yeah.
So this dude figured it out, and he's a videographer, and we linked up the next week, and we shot the Mr. Clean video.
And that's where Release Your Face.
And
Because before that was just SoundCloud?
So that's when So that's when I revealed my face finally. I'd been like posting on social media just with random pictures of other things. And then I revealed it with that video, and that's when that was like my biggest first moment. And
then it kind of all took off. And another cool thing about you that people don't realize, one, you studied marketing, right? But like your whole career has been like kind of a marketing genius, right? And it started for you, I believe it was like Eat Street, like which is like the Uber Eats, right?
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah,
but at one point you got to this point in your life, you're like, do I want to do it for somebody else, or do I want to do this for me? And talk about that moment for you.
Yeah, man, you did the research. Yeah, so I worked at a startup accelerator where I would help companies like take off that had something really good. And one of them was Eat Street, which turned into like Uber Eats and Postmates. So I do branding, and then I was like, I knew a ton about hip hop, soul music, all this. I was very into the SoundCloud scene. I was like, you know what, I could do this for myself. So I started doing that as a side hustle while working and going to school, but I was just motivated. And yeah, man, I don't know the exact moment, but there's one summer where I was like, you know what, I love y'all. I got to take a summer off, and then I just grinded hard on music, and that's when it all happened, man.
And that's great because I feel like so many people in their career, right? Everybody's working for the man, as I say, right? But everybody finds that moment where like, you know what, I'm gonna do it for me. So you took your time and you just grinded on yourself.
Yeah.
And people don't realize either, like, well, one, you've been doing this for a long time. It's not just this viral song or that viral song, it's a whole career. But one thing I think is really cool, obviously the Addison Rae and the mom thing that all comes up, but like Addison Rae and Charlie came to your meet and greet.
Yeah.
Like back back as a fan of Young Gravy, and people don't see it that way sometimes. I'm sure like your diehard fans do, but somebody watches right now. Talk about how like they just popped up on you like for a picture.
I remember that moment because I don't know how long ago it was. I know both them two came to one. I think it was separate. I think it was Avani and Charlie D'Amelio came to one, and they were telling me about TikTok. It was before it had popped off at all.
Yeah.
But
it was
kids. It was a thing, and like it was. I mean, they were popping on it, but I don't know. They weren't. They were humble, and we took a picture and everything. Like a dope meet and greet. They were big fans, and then like a couple years later, I like finally get on TikTok. I'm like, oh, those are those girls. They're literally the top people on here, and it's crazy that now that TikTok kind of dictates a lot of music that pops off.
Well, and that's what I was going to talk about is like, it's crazy because like music now, obviously, it is so different. Everything's changing in the world. But like when you're making a song, are you thinking about getting that viral TikTok moment, or are you thinking about putting out a good 3-minute song, or is it a combination of both? Or where do you stand in that?
I think the trends and whatnot that pop off, I don't think there's really like a formula to it. I've seen people try,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. Like they try to make
They
like
force it.
like a grimy. I don't know even what the sound would be, but like with I need like a particular drop right here, and I'm gonna say something about dance or something. I don't know. I've seen people try it, but I just kept making my style of music. I've always had a lot of beat drops and I like big moments in songs that are memorable, and I think that those are kind of what led a lot of my songs to pop off on that platform. But I haven't really. I think I once went into a session thinking, I'm going to let's see if I can make a TikTok song. And halfway
Didn't
through,
work.
I was like, this is lame. Let me just make my own music. And if a trend happens, it happens.
And then at one point, so you get this little buzz going, and you actually had to like pay for your name, which is another like wild story about you. You had to drop like 150 bands just to be Young Gravy.
Yeah, that was wild. That was just an L on my part, man. I had been rapping, I don't know exactly how long, but it was right when I started popping off. This other kid who had dropped like 3 songs under the name Young Gravy, and it was right around the time that I initially. So I don't think he just did it, like to
was
take,
he
to
biting
take advantage,
you, or he just had
like I think he actually did drop songs under that name. Like it was right around the time that I started. So there was a whole thing where we'd do all this research to find who was the first usage. Anyways, he saw that my career was popping off, his wasn't, and then he trademarked the name. And
also he beat you to the trademark.
He beat me to the trademark. I don't know. It was early on. I didn't even realize I needed that. So then I had to do deposition and all this stuff. Is super super in depth. Finally, just had to give him $150K to keep the name. I thought about just changing my name to Daddy Gravy, but I was like,
because you've had a bunch of names throughout the years.
Yeah, I've had names, but I was like, nah, man. Like I want to stick with this. People will be confused.
You also didn't want this guy to beat you for your name.
Yeah,
it's gotta be
like,
ego thing.
exactly. I was like, you know what? You can't take it, man. So
we talked about Addison Rae earlier. Talk about real quick. I'm sure you get this all the time, but like, what was the first conversation when you took Addison Rae's mom to like the award show? How'd that even come up?
So I mean, we had flirted a little bit online, I guess like via TikTok or just DMs or whatever, and I got offered to perform at the VMAs, and they're like, you could bring a date. So we flirted a little bit. I thought this would be a cool one. I didn't realize that when people bring a date to those types of shows,
like a big deal.
It's like kind of like seen as it's like their wife or something. Everyone thought we were like dating, but I was like, it's just a date. So I asked Martha Stewart because she's my main, and she couldn't make it. So I was like, yeah, what's up, Sheri? We had never met in person. But she came. We got like 2 nights to hang out beforehand.
So that was the first time you ever met her?
Yeah. I mean, like we had 2 nights to chill beforehand. It would have been awkward if we like just showed straight up. But no, I got to know her. She's cool.
Was it a DM or is it a text? Your people have her number?
I FaceTimed her. Yeah, I FaceTimed her. I was like, yo, you should pull up. And she was super down. It was fun. It's actually really cool. She's a sweetheart.
And you talk about Martha Stewart. She took you to a bat mitzvah?
So I was performing at this bat mitzvah, and it was Monty Littman's daughter, who's the head of Republic Records. So then their neighbors, up in like the Hamptons or something. So I had to bring Martha as my date, man. And that started, so I made a song called Martha Stewart, and then we did a commercial together, and we've just been tight since.
And then, so you perform at the bat mitzvah, you perform at the award show, but we're just chatting because you're performing on Thanksgiving. And this is kind of a tough one between you and me, because it's a Vikings-Patriots game.
Yeah, which is wild. I've kind of done things with a few sports teams. It's always been random. Like Tampa Bay Lightning brought me out and performed at one of their games. The Braves have like showed me a lot of love, and then it's never been a Minnesota team until finally they hit me up like, yo, let's get some gravy at Thanksgiving. And
I didn't even put that together from that until you just said that. Now I see the commercial forming as we say this, the gravy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. So they are hyping that up. I'm performing right before the game, and I don't feel bad. I'm proud for us that finally the Vikings probably might beat y'all. We actually have a good. For the first time,
you guys have a great team. We're gonna have a rebuilding year right now.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I remember the Pats were always going crazy.
Been a franchise forever. But we're talking about how dope of a moment that is for you, right? Because you sold out show today in Boston. Congrats, it's awesome.
Thank you.
But like now you're gonna be on stage in front of, I think you said 70,000 people.
70,000 people, yeah, on the turf, whatever you call it. Yeah, it'd be lit. It'd be sick.
Do you get nervous before something like that, or is it like, nah, I'm just gonna be me?
Probably will be a little bit. I don't get nervous before most shows, but I think that one I might be a little bit.
You're like Boston, no big deal, but before Vikings.
The Vikings, man, it's like ton of them are gonna be older people that don't know me. It's gonna be every single direction I look, I'm gonna see everybody. But I'm hyped. I'll make it sick.
I feel like this will definitely be a moment where you're like, holy, is happening. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
this. What's the one moment like so far in your career that you were just like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
I think one of the dopest was when the Martha Stewart thing first happened, because I made this song, and part of my intention was hopefully she hears it someday.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was the middle of COVID. I was doing some cool outdoorsy shit in Montana, and I get a call from my manager, and he was like, "Yo, surprise! Like good news, Martha Stewart's gonna like license your song, and we're gonna do a whole commercial." All that was crazy because I thought he was joking.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I mean, Jimmy Kimmel was another big one.
Yeah.
Those types of.
Well, congrats on both those moments.
Thank you.
Also, congrats. The album came out a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
First album in like 2 years too.
Yes, sir.
So first off, because you had collabs over the last 2 years, though.
I had a couple of features.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not a lot.
Features.
I mean, I think there might have been like 3 or 4 songs that dropped in the last. Yeah, in that window. It was pretty low key.
And you were saying this is probably your best work yet, or you feel like it's your best work
Yeah,
yet.
definitely.
Talk about the whole process for you in the album.
I just got a lot better at making music. I like learned how to really do it, and before I was just getting beats and rapping over them, but I kind of learned the production side of things, and I was working on these like from scratch with the producers every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I had a lot more. I was a lot more hands on with it, and I don't know, man. I think it just came out hot. I spent a lot of time like going through it and like making sure it was perfect. So it's marvelous.
Are you that perfect that person like in the studio that's a perfectionist? Like you're
Yeah.
like listen to it over and over again.
Yeah, like to a point. I definitely like will have to like just stop if I'm overthinking, because I'll go crazy and then listen to a song a load of times before, and then realize like I don't know. I'll go hard or like rewrite a whole verse, but it comes out in the end. It's worth it.
When you have a body of work like that, like do the songs that pop, are they the ones that you were like, yo, I knew that song was gonna pop, or is it more like, damn, I didn't know that song was gonna pop, but now it's Betty, or like how's that work?
Not always, but I mean, usually I'll know like you can tell, but
Yeah.
there have been ones like with Oops. When I dropped Oops, I didn't like that was my last big song.
Yeah.
Before Betty, and I didn't expect that one to go that crazy. It is kind of like unexpected sometimes which ones go off. On this album, there's like 3 that are kind of my favorites, and it's cool to see that they're sort of performing the best.
Yeah.
The ones that I kind of had the most influence on, so that's cool. Sometimes you can't even call it.
That's dope. Well, congrats on your success. Crush it tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be watching you halftime of the Patriots-Viking game. Hopefully we're on top. I'm not sure I'll be, but yo,
We'll see.
I appreciate the time. I know you're a busy guy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Go to the show, baby.